It's Tuesday, September 19th on the Sleepers podcast. Welcome back to the show. Should be a fun episode today. Carter Elliott is here, and he told me I look slender before we jumped on this Zoom call.
Yeah, I think you're looking very, very svelte today.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Sometimes I don't know if compliments from you are coming with like a double meaning, like a little like half insult hidden as a compliment, but I think this one was genuine. I responded to you and said, I'm going through a hair crisis. So can we talk about my hair situation going on right now?
Honestly, I think we have to, because maybe it's the hairstyle actually might be making you look like more svelte.
Makes me look a little younger or something, maybe. I don't know.
Talk me through this. What's going on here?
So one of the things I like most about being just like a nerdy white guy is that you can really like switch up your hair at any given moment. And so like my hair saga through my life has been I had a mop top in high school. Like that was like the cool thing at Lansing Catholic from like 7th grade on, was like you're just gonna grow out like really shaggy, stupid looking hair. And I had that basically all of high school. And then I forget when this really changed. Even like fresh, like when I met Mal, my now wife, in college, like the pictures are like embarrassing. So I had hair down to like my shoulders.
When I met you, I'm pretty sure you had the mop.
Yeah, I had like a mop for like 6-7 years. And I don't really know when it switched, but I just like decided to get a haircut. And like, I think I was like in the medium mid-range, in between what I want to do. And then I got out of college and grew up a little bit, and I started watching The Bachelor. And there's this guy named Sean Booth, who like very clearly did like a 1 faded into a 1.5 with like a hard part and like slicked it all the way to the back right. And I said, I want that.
I want Sean Booth.
Then I did that for about 6 years without realizing I'm not Sean Booth. And like his look was much more about his biceps than it was his odd haircut. So anyways, long story short, it's been a rough hair decade for me. I've been like a big time like product, spike it up, like try to be professional kind of guy for a while. I just don't think I can really rock that much anymore. And I don't know what to do with it. I can't go back to the mop. But the nice thing, like I said, about being a white guy is if you just go in the middle range of this, you end up doing what I would call like the JJ McCarthy, which is just like you have some random little like flimsy flops that cover part of your forehead. So I don't know if I'm intending to do this, but I just didn't put product in it today. I showered before this, didn't put product in it, and I'm giving it a try. And I'll tell you what, Card, I feel okay about how I look on the Zoom call right now, but I'm nervous.
You know what? I'm not hating the cut. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
I kind of like it.
Well, I appreciate that.
I think it makes your forehead smaller too.
Yeah,
Have you noticed that?
The obvious thing here is I have a massive, massive forehead, and my haircut for years has like made that louder, especially now that the hairline may be receding a little bit. So
that we don't use that word.
Okay, thank you. But so yeah, we're just gonna give this a shot. We'll see. Kind of like a little bedhead look, but it is what it is. I feel all right, and you called me slender, so maybe that goes hand in hand. Here we are. Some fun topics to talk about today. Michigan State's coaching search continues, and they have a chance to make the funniest hire in NCAA history. We think a Big Ten school is about to land a blue chip recruit, and then I have a little game I came up with. I don't know where I came up with this, but fun question of if you could only draft one player in the Big Ten to be the face of your team, who would you draft? And it might not be as easy as you think, because if you draft Zach Edey, you're only getting 3 months of Zach Edey. You could get someone for 4 years instead. So I'm excited to see what you come up with. But first, we'll start with comments. As always, let's go to you. Do you have a Carter Elliott comment of the day today?
Yes, I do. And it is from that boy from Illinois. Also, just a reminder to folks, we're getting a lot of comments on other videos, and as we do welcome that, and it pertains to that video, I typically like to stick to the main video for where I pick comments. So if you do want me to pick your comment for all those that are commenting on YouTube, maybe even double comment, throw it on the main video so I can see it, just because I don't want to scroll through the other videos. Keep it fair. We're always coming from the main video. So that boy from Illinois said, can we agree that NFL has the worst overtime rules of any league? And this is why I wanted to talk about this, because I don't understand how hard it is to make sure that both teams get a chance to get the ball. Like, is that not a should that not be a well-known or well-respected thing? I hate that the game is essentially decided by a coin flip. You have a 50-50 chance to win the game. And I know that they did the thing where you have if the other team scores a field goal, you have a chance to score. Well, if the other team scores a touchdown, you should have a chance to score. Or honestly, I'd be completely fine with just make it another quarter. Make it another quarter, and whoever wins, wins. Like, and just play a whole nother quarter. Now, obviously, with NFL rules and how they probably want to minimize games or something like that, even though they cut preseason and added another week of football, why not just play another quarter? I think that'd be my solution. Greg, I feel like you have an iPhone note with like overtime rule adjustments or something like that.
So I have 3 fun creative solutions that are readily made for this. 2 of them I just came up with on the fly right now, but I feel really good about them. I also want to preface this by saying no disrespect to any football guys out there. We're a basketball show at heart. We are starting to talk football. We welcome football guys. I never played football. I'm just a fan of watching and betting it. Never played football for once in my life. I have a take that might give me some shit here, but spoiler alert, the people in power in the sport of football might not be the brightest bulbs in the box. Okay. Like, football is like, hit someone. Like, yeah, that's who made the rule where if you win a coin toss, you can win the game. Okay. Like, no disrespect to Roger Goodell, not my favorite commissioner. Don't think he's made some of the brightest decisions in his tenure. I just, it's football. Like, what do we expect? This is the American sport because Americans are idiots, and I love us for being idiots, but like, there hasn't been a lot of thought put into this, in my opinion. Here's 3 ways I would fix this. 1, keep the simple rule right now where if the first team scores a touchdown, they can win, except if the first team scores a touchdown, they have to kick a regular extra point, and then the second team then gets the ball and can go down and score. But if they score, they have to go for 2. That way there's only 2 possessions total. That's it. Both teams get the ball, and it's much harder to score and win and go for 2 than it is to just score, but they still get a chance.
I kind of like that. Where do you go for 2 from? Like, from the normal spot?
From the normal spot. From the normal spot.
Okay.
Yep.
I like that rule a lot. You just came up with that one?
So that's option number 1. I have 2 more. Wait for this. My 2 get more scandalous here. Number 2. I personally really like the way college football overtime is run. I think it's good. I don't think it's a bad thing if the game extends. I know college football is trying to cancel, like, they don't want 10 overtimes. I think 10 overtimes is great. I think everybody loves that. What I would do with the NFL, if they were to adopt the college style, I would say both teams get a possession in every overtime, but instead of starting at the 25, start at the 50. You start out of field goal range. NFL kickers are pretty elite. You only need like 10 yards to be in range. Start at the 50. There's more variation of what could happen, more plays, more downs. Both teams get the ball, start at the 50. Simple as that.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. It'd be kind of fun to see, like, if one team got stopped and let's say the Ravens are playing and the Ravens are like, you know what? I don't even want to run a play. Run Justin Tucker out there for a 65-yarder for the win. Yeah. Don't even risk a fumble. I like that too.
Yeah, game strategy I think is pretty good. I just forgot my third. I got so excited about my first and second. The third was radical. Can you just like talk through some stuff for a minute while I think of this? Because the third was radical and I got to remember it.
You want me to talk through actual NFL stuff, or can I just talk about anything?
Yeah, talk about whatever. Talk me through your morning, your day. Just.
Oh, okay. I know exactly what I want to talk about. So I've had a tough weekend, as many know. MSU lost, Lions lost. Just things weren't really going my way. And I decided after the Lions game, I was going to clean my car because I just needed something to take my mind off the weekend of losing. So I cleaned my car out. I took all my, I usually keep my basketball shoes in there, things like that. Cleaned all that out, cleaned the carpet, cleaned everything. Forgot my shoes for my men's league game last night. Lost my men's league game, and I had to hoop in low-top Air Force Ones. I was getting cooked audibly by the other team because even though I scored a good amount of points, I missed a lot of bunnies yesterday, a lot of free throws too. Ended with 18. But even when I was getting and ones and like trying to talk shit, the dude was like, "You're hooping in Air Force Ones," and I had nothing to say back to that. It really rattled me. But Gregory, please go on with your third topic.
First of all, I appreciate the update. You did send me a voice note last night. So we said yesterday on this episode, you have until Wednesday for something to start going your way. Otherwise, you're mailing it in.
Yeah.
Today is a critical day based
Yeah.
on how I know last night ended.
It's been a good morning.
Okay. Off to a great start. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the radical one. Both teams have the ball at the same time on offense on opposite ends of the field. Ball at the 25. We got team 1 on offense, team 2's defense, playing football on that side. On the other side, team 2 on offense, team 1 on defense, playing football on that side. The first team to score wins. First team in the end zone wins.
That's insane. How do you watch that?
Like rapid 2-minute drill. Think of like if it's like red zone where you got like the quad box. There's just a split in the screen. You're watching offense on one end. You're watching offense on the other end. Teams are rushing no huddle to get up to the line. Like if you went 4 and out, you go back to the beginning of the 25. Like you're just stuck. Teams are going to be gunning for the end zone. It would be electric, wouldn't it? It'd be electric.
Honestly, I kind of like all those options.
I think all 3 are more fun than what we currently had. But
do you have a favorite out of those 3?
The third one sounds electric.
The third one sounds electric. I think I'd go 1 though.
I think if I could truly pick, I'd pick 2, but I think 1's the most realistic. Like just insert that. That's an obvious fix right now. Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
I think both teams should have a chance to touch the ball.
Yeah. Also, like get a stop though, and also like win a coin toss.
True. Shout out to Drew Lock of the Seahawks. Did absolutely nothing but win the coin toss the whole game.
What would you think about this instead of because the only thing I don't like is like a coin toss is truly you don't have any say. Like one team does, they got to pick heads or tails, but the other team just like gets to stand idly by and see what their fate is. What if instead of a coin toss, it was the same exact rules, but it was rock, paper, scissors?
Best 2 out of 3.
We're a big rock, paper, scissors podcast. We love it.
Do love rock, paper, scissors.
I mean, it wouldn't be kind of fun to see like Drew Lock versus Jared Goff, rock, paper, scissors, 2 out of 3 for the ball.
True. I mean, my degenerate mindset also take 2 players that don't play, have them shotgun a beer.
Don't hate that too. I wouldn't be nearly as mad if Jared Goff lost 2 out of 3 rock, paper, scissors. Then we just didn't have a chance in the coin toss.
Jared Goff also isn't losing rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Best 2 out of 3 to Drew Lock. If we're going to keep it a buck, he's not.
No chance.
No chance.
Is Jared Goff kind of like, is he kind of swaggy?
In a weird way, kind of, yeah. And maybe it's because I didn't hold him in any swaggy regard coming in. He's kind of like that boy.
Yeah.
Like he talks his talk. He trolls a little bit on IG. He's like, throwing stuff on. He's got the SI swimsuit model girlfriend. Like Jared Goff's kind of elite.
He got some shit to him, and I don't think we realized. Like, I thought, I think he had pretty boy potential. Like, if he stayed in LA his whole career, I think he was going to be Hollywood Goff, which honestly would have been kind of fun. But I think like he's just kind of subtly like hidden back, adopted the Detroit mentality, and
he chirps a little bit too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He got that late hit. He got up in dude's face. Who knows what he said? But he's got a little shit to him for sure.
And he looks like Ken, which is it's great. Like that's cold. We like that. So okay. Fun start to today's episode. Should we pivot to the Discord?
Please.
Let's pivot to the Discord. Good active day in the Discord as always. A lot of people firing off some Monday night football bets. I gave out George Pickens receptions, which I'm mad we had to sweat that, but Pickens with a couple big plays last night. Let's do some comments here though. I put the episode in the comments thread and you said, I need to know if number 32 actually played for Seattle because I may have some words.
Yeah, because I didn't see him on the field at all. Come to find out he's a special teamer. I'm not sure you're the one that should be trolling, my boy. That's all I'm saying.
That doesn't sit right. Yeah, it doesn't sit right. Coy says, was Matt Meyer a paycheck guy? Is Paul Mulcahy the biggest paycheck guy? This comes from yesterday's episode where I had the realization that a lot of these dudes are just there to cash checks. Like the Villanova 5th-year seniors, I don't think have a bunch of motivation to make Villanova basketball great again or to reach new heights individually. Yeah, we totally overlooked Matthew Meyer in this, right? Like,
yeah. And there's I don't even know if they're rumors at this point, but they're actual facts. Like Matt Meyer didn't touch the campus of Illinois unless he was like there to practice or play games.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like Matthew Meyer, by the way. He was the name a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago, we were teasing there was an Illinois player we thought we could get on the podcast. Matthew Meyer is that guy. I still think we could. I didn't make a 100% effort to get him. I kind of just like danced around it for a day. But I would love to talk to Matthew Meyer. I think he's a fascinating guy. I would be furious if my team paid for Matthew Meyer, though, and I got what Matthew Meyer gave Illinois. That was tough. Fam says, can I get a State of the Union on rap/hip hop? Is it cooked? Haven't seen good new talent since Dirk, but I've got my eye on this Dallas wave.
Okay, so I will be with Fam. I do have my eye on the Dallas wave. It's a certain style. I don't know if they're like going to take over the rap game or something like that. But I will say this. I think there is a new rap kind of wave coming along. And for anyone out there who is looking to get into some people, I would highly recommend getting into some Detroit artists. Like, if you're not already listening to the Babyface Ray, Vezo, V's, all those guys, especially V's. His last album, probably one of the top albums of the year. So definitely listen to that. I really don't want to talk about rap right now because my favorite rapper is a liar. Like, he promised me that we would get an album this week, and because he's on tour, we're not getting it until October 6th. I don't want to, be tough on him, but if you're going to be one of the greats, to me, it sounds like he's getting a little complacent. The old Drake, I know he's dropping it even when he's on tour. He is. So I don't know. I'm a little afraid.
Oh my God. I can't believe you just said that on camera. You've never even hinted at an inch of doubt towards Aubrey Drake Graham. I am in shock right now.
Oh, I mean, let's not get it twisted. October 6th, a classic's dropping. Let's not get it twisted. But there is a little minuscule bit, a little microscopic piece of like, is Drake getting complacent? The old Drizzy is dropping even when he's on tour. He's getting up there. He's a father now. I don't know.
Wow.
Is Drake thumbnail? Is Drake a paycheck? Is Drake a paycheck guy?
He might be a paycheck guy. He might. Wow. I was not ready for that. Yeah, I won't comment on rap hip hop because I just don't listen to enough new rappers.
Do you listen to Rod Wave? I try to get you to listen.
Rod Wave.
Do you listen to Rod Wave?
I like Don't Love Rod Wave.
You like Don't Love? What the F does that mean?
Like, I like him. I don't love him. Like, I'm not gonna like seek out like, oh, today I'm playing Rod Wave all day. But like, if Rod Wave came on, I'm like, yeah, I don't mind him.
Okay, that's understood. For anybody out there who has Apple Music, follow me, Carter Elliott, on Apple Music. I got playlists. I got all new music for you. You don't got to worry about finding new artists. I'm on the lookout. I'm finding them all for you. I got you. So
Apple Music over Spotify, by the way.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Easily.
My the only thing, I wouldn't even call this new, but I've just been listening to all the UK stuff that you put me on.
Man,
about a month ago.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm big Central C guy.
Yeah, is Central C your favorite?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've gone down the rabbit hole of all the guys you showed me. Tried to seek out a couple of my own beyond that. I don't love Dave. You put me on Dave. I don't love Dave. I don't love Burna Boy either. A big Central C guy though.
But Burna Boy's not UK.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but I did think he was.
Well, he's. I think he actually is maybe from the UK or group, but he's technically Nigerian. So like that's his. He's not a UK rapper technically.
Got it. Yeah, much different vibe to that too. But
what about you? Have you ran Stormzy?
Mm-hmm. Stormzy probably my second favorite behind Central C.
Okay. See, I like Dave a lot,
but I think there's a big gap between Central C and Stormzy from everything I've heard.
Okay. My next task to you is Digga D. That's the next UK rapper.
Okay. I'm intrigued by the name alone. That's pretty good. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, fam. Sorry we didn't give you more on that, but that's where we are. Moving on. D-Rose SAT says Illinois has arguably the biggest NIL in the Big Ten. Do you think they should be targeting 5-star McDonald's All-American types instead of big name portal pieces? I have two questions to you in response to this. One is the question he asked, should they be targeting different guys? But two, do you actually think Illinois has the biggest NIL in the Big Ten?
I don't think so.
I think it's probably behind Indiana from what
I would say Indiana too. And preface this by saying there's a lot of people that are plugged into and like actually know the NIL numbers. This is just purely us guessing and the little information we have. I think it's Indiana, and I think Indiana's pretty clear too. Like I think it's
Yeah.
like Indiana's on the tier of being like the Purdue of the Big Ten, like as far as the ratings, like they're on their own tier. I think Indiana's on their own tier NIL wise.
Yeah, I would have said Illinois was at least even with Indiana, if not clearing Indiana before this offseason. But I don't know that there's been a moment since the NIL era began that Indiana has hit a point where they've said, oh, we paid Malik Renault, so we can't pay Kel'el Ware. That happened to Illinois a bunch this offseason. They said, oh, well, we gave all our money to Terrence Shannon. We can't get anybody else.
And that's poor.
That's poor. We don't support that. But here's the thing. I don't know the specifics. I don't know that I buy that. I think that was a lot of Illinois fans making excuses for themselves. I think they could have paid Paul Mulcahy or others and just for whatever reason decided not to, whether that was basketball reasons or others. I don't know. But yeah, I think Indiana would write blank checks for guys from what I know. Illinois.
And also a little NIL Indiana tidbit or fact. I was in a Indiana space last night, just driving home. I hopped into it. And one of the pretty big, I think, NIL initiatives at Indiana, they're doing a floor seat ticket giveaway to Indiana versus Kansas. Mm-hmm. And it's $100 an entry. And basically you can enter as many times as you want. And all that money goes to the NIL program or whatever it is. And they were going through the numbers of how many entries they have. Insane. Like people are really, and it doesn't really make sense because I feel like if you put enough money in, you could just buy the seats yourself.
Just buy the tickets.
Yeah, I don't know how much they are though. I mean, maybe they're crazy.
Interesting. Yeah. Many different ways to sit on the floor at Assembly Hall. One of which is to just ignore where you're supposed to go as media members.
Who did that?
I certainly wouldn't recommend it. His actual question, though, do you think Illinois should be targeting 5-star McDonald's All-American types instead of portal guys?
I think they should be targeting portal guys more so. Because it just doesn't seem to me like outside of Io, who I believe was a 5-star, correct?
I don't remember.
Or he might have been fringe. I don't know. Either or. I think he might have ended up in some recruiting services as a 5-star. He was a Mac Irvin Chicago kid, right? If they didn't have those ties, I don't know if they're necessarily getting him. And I think the true programs that are good at getting 5-stars are getting 5-stars they don't have connections to. Like they're getting them because they are Kansas, North Carolina, Duke, whatever school, blue blood you want to throw in there. They're getting it without certain ties. They're getting it because of the program they are. I don't know if Illinois holds the weight enough just to rake in 5-stars in McDonald's All-Americans because of who they are and where they're at.
Yeah, this is a good segue for a couple of reasons. I think two of the topics we're going to do today kind of hit on this. We're going to talk about a 5-star that's probably about to commit to a Big Ten school. And then we're going to talk about like, how do you weigh a talented one and done versus a 4-year guy? I don't think 5-star McDonald's All-Americans are the most valuable thing for Illinois because I think they've had really talented freshmen. And if they can't retain those freshmen, what does that look like? Like, obviously Sky Clark didn't hit on the court last year. Obviously, they had some other freshmen that didn't hit the way they wanted to on the court last year. But like, even if Gibbs Lawhorn's great, he's not staying at Illinois for a while, right? And he's not even like a 5-star All-American guy. But I think their money would be better served on multi-year guys. And honestly, where they landed with Terrence Shannon is perfect because you're getting a first-team All-Big Ten guy. He was great last year, and he's back. Like, if a freshman was great in year one, they're probably not back. So you get the maximum you spend on multi-year guys.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't know if they're going to win with that model, though. It's kind of tough. Kind of got to do both. Travis Nelson said to the Myers stuff, he said, as soon as Myers checked at the mailbox, a monster was cracked open. I don't know if the Discord knows this, but I drank 5 monsters in a day last year in honor of Matthew Meyer, and I had never had a monster before. So I didn't know how hard it would be. Like I thought it'd be pretty easy, honestly. I thought just like it'd be like drinking extra strength Diet Cokes. I was wrong.
Yeah, he was very wrong, folks. And at the time when Greg did do this, I was an energy drinker. I was a guy that needed like that 300 milligrams of caffeine energy drink. So I was a connoisseur in that area. And for those of you who don't know about Monster, like they have a like low sugar, no calorie version, because the regular version of a Monster has like 1,000 grams of sugar in it. And if the caffeine overdose doesn't send you into a euphoric state, all the sugar you just had will send you into some type of state. So I'm very surprised you did that. I'm glad that somebody stepped in. I believe it was Mal, your wife, that stepped in and said, "Stop drinking these." Thank God for her for doing that.
Yeah, I had 6 of them and I got through 4 and I had cracked the 5th. And my wife was just like, you need to stop. I was like my hands were actually shaking uncontrollably. It was horrible. I didn't sleep for like 2 days after that. And then I crashed in a coma-like state. So credit to Matthew Meyer for what he did. That's incredible. Tristan says Mulcahy can't be a paycheck guy because from what he's heard, no one at Washington has gotten paid. Little busting brackets insight there.
Yeah, I don't want to comment on anything Washington or Paul Mulcahy.
No Washington because of football right now, or
no? Well, shit. Now that I think about it, yeah, but I also don't want to comment on anything Paul Mulcahy.
Got it. Okay. And final comment of the day, Illini Trav 11 says Matthew Meyer absolutely was a paycheck guy. The dude never even stepped foot on campus.
Respect.
Yeah.
Why is that a bad thing?
Well, it's a bad thing in Champaign because Champaign's awesome.
Okay, well, what's campus though? Like, I'm sure Matthew Meyer was on Green Street. Is that
campus
part of campus?
Was awesome. Campus was we went to campus.
I'm saying, is Green Street, that main street, considered part of campus?
I don't know. I don't want to speak for Illinois fans or Illinois students.
I know Matthew Meyer was first team all Green Street. No one can tell me otherwise. Is he stepping in the student union? No. Does he need to?
The student union was great.
Yeah, we love the student union. We're not Matthew Meyer.
When I die, bury me underneath the piano at the Illinois Student Union.
I'm sick we didn't get the bowl.
Yeah, I really wanted to, for real. Also, does Champaign have a country bar? I feel like that would be Meyer's vibes more than Cam's.
They for sure have a saloon.
Yeah, there's got to be some like Champaign saloon. I would bet that Matthew Meyer has like a framed picture.
A picture for sure. A Matthew Meyer sandwich, something there.
Yeah. Thanks to the Discord. As always, great day yesterday. Let's keep the momentum rolling this week. We're going to chip away at the bad betting vibes in the Discord day by day. And then we're going to get to Thursday and we're just going to have like an explosion of positivity in the Discord. So link to join the Discord is in the description of every YouTube video. It's $9.99 a month. If you like this show, we would absolutely love to see you there. It's the biggest thing you can do to support us. In fact, I'm going to make Carter Elliott read an ad read after we are done recording this episode. So stay tuned. Later this episode, you're going to hear a Carter Elliott ad read at some point for the Discord. That should be fun. Let's get to our topics for today. Liam McNeely is the guy I want to lead with. Presumed Indiana commit, but you can't say that when the other guy that's still in the picture is Bill Self. As we know, we've said it thousands of times. That's the one man you don't want to see in a head-to-head recruiting battle. Liam McNeely was supposed to visit Texas. He has canceled his Texas visit. He is supposedly deciding between Indiana and Kansas. He recently just had an official visit to Indiana. All the picks came out. Indiana did a great job from everything that I've heard. They crushed this 100 out of 100 and have put themselves in the best possible position to get Liam McNeely. So I want to talk about McNeely's game a little bit before we do predictions on is he going to end up at Indiana or Kansas, because he's a pretty divisive prospect from what I've seen. All the national guys love him. Recruiting analysts are very high on this kid, consider him a blue chip, 5-star type. Then there's some people in our circles who watch his game, Big Ten type people, who don't come away blown away. Like you hear 5-star blue chip might come to the Big Ten. That's pretty rare, one. And two, you kind of expect to be blown away visually off just eye test stuff on their game. I don't get that from Liam McNeely. So we posed this to our Discord. We're like, anybody have a strong feel either way on this guy? And we got a lot of classic white wing comps. We got some Jake Layman from Basketball Jones. We got some Sam Decker. I believe I threw out my current take, which I need you to talk me off a ledge on. I think he's Cooper Flag if Cooper Flag wasn't good at basketball. That's what I get with McNeely, which is impossible because Cooper Flag's awesome. And any comparison to Cooper Flag, you take that guy, no matter how bad he is, if he's compared to Cooper Flag. But I don't know. I just see like jumbo wing that I'm not sure what he can do. He just looks like he is a smooth guy for how tall he is on the court. You have a crazy comp for Liam McNeely, and I want you to explain that comp.
I said he's Gildan brand Devin Booker. Okay, but hear me out here, because all the guys that this is kind of where this stemmed from, because this was a Discord conversation. Everyone that came out, they're naming like Jake Layman. Jake Layman's like 6'8", okay, like 6'9", bouncy wing. I'm pretty sure Jake Layman's 6'8". Please check me on that.
I thought he was like 6'10", to be honest with you.
Okay, he might. That's what I'm saying. He might be even taller than that. Cooper Flag, 6'8", 6'9". Who was the other one that was said? Sam Decker. Sam Decker is probably what, 6'7", 6'8"? Like he's up there too. McNeely is like 6'5", actually 6'5", and might not actually be 6'5". Around the what?
He's 6'7". He's no, McNeely is listed at 6'7" on 24/7.
McNeely's 6'5".
That's just Carter Elliott's evaluation. He's 2 inches shorter than they say.
This comes from Carter Elliott __ rankings, 5-star, whatever you want to call it. He's 6'5".
Are you saying you are an expert in guys who are listed at 6'7" that are actually 6'5"?
Yes, I am. From speaking from personal experience, I am.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, hear me out on this. I think that he doesn't pop off the page athletically. Devin Booker coming into Kentucky did not pop off the page athletically. He also wasn't, a guy who was like, when they get here, he's going to get to the NBA. I don't think McNeely is going to be the guy that had the Devin Booker type impact as far as like him getting to the school and just blowing up and being a lottery pick. But I think that they're both knockdown shooters. They both play the game extremely smart and the right way. And I think what McNeely lacks, obviously, is Booker's more isolation scoring prowess. Like Booker has a crazy bag. I don't know if McNeely has any type of bag, honestly, at this point, but he knows what gets to his spots. He's an absolute knockdown shooter. He's not like a great defender, but he's a willing defender. So if you get willing defender from a 5-star kid, you'll love that and you'll work with that. And also McNeely, looking at Indiana, he's probably a kid that's like, I'm a 5-star kid, but I'm not really getting the hype that other kids are necessarily getting. He probably wants to play in the NBA. He might look at Indiana and be like, Jalen Hood-Schifino was a borderline 5-star guy that no one was really talking about on NBA draft boards until he went to Indiana, and then he went in the first round. Like, that's something that Indiana probably could lean into. So I think that McNeely is going to be a really, really, really good college basketball player, and it hurts me and pains me that he's going to be in the Big Ten, because I think he's going to bust a lot of asses in the Big Ten for years. I'm not sure how long he's going to be there, but as long as he's there, he's going to give a lot of guys problems in the Big Ten. And a plea to you, Bill Self, do your thing, man. Please, just do it.
So I'm going to say you're putting the Carter Cristobal on McNeely to Indiana.
Yeah, I do like 90-10 to Indiana, but you should be scared of that 10 if that 10 is Bill Self.
Yeah, if it's 10, but Bill Self's involved, it's 40.
It's like grading on the curve.
Yeah, that's the Bill Self inflation rate. I'll call it what I think it is. I'll be pointed on this. He's going to Indiana. That is my belief. I don't feel nervous about this at all, other than it is Bill Self. But sometimes you got to separate, like, all signs point to Indiana here. I think that's what's happening. I also think McNeely is an all-timer on paper Candy Stripes guy. I'm a big Candy Stripes guy. This guy was like handcrafted in a lab to look good in Candy Stripes. I think this is a huge ad. I really do, because he is a multi-year guy, in my opinion, and he's about as good as you can possibly be to still be a multi-year guy. Now, we could be wrong. He could step foot in Bloomington and do what a lot of Indiana freshmen have done and have really productive freshman seasons, and all of a sudden there's opportunities on the table. But I don't think they should expect that. In fact, I think there's a world where he's even more than a 2-year guy here. And that's an incredibly valuable thing for a program like Indiana to have, because I think they've gotten bit a little bit by early departures that may or may not have been in the projections. So
is there a world where he's Tyler Hero? And I know that's the lazy white 6'5" guard comparison, but is there a world where he is?
I think you are comparing him to guys that are just a lot more perimeter, like quick than I view McNeely. We can debate his height if we want. I view this guy as like a true forward. I don't, from what and look, I haven't seen him in person, so maybe I'll be blown away when I do see him in person at some point in Bloomington. But I don't see the speed or the quickness or the footwork stuff that those guards had. Like, even if he can handle a little bit, if you wanted to run him in like some secondary ball handler type stuff, I just think he's kind of slow. Like, I think he's going to have to be a forward to be a wing and be successful. Now, he can be a forward who shoots the shit out of the ball. I think that's what Indiana's getting here.
Okay, I will say this. He's got a burner.
He has a burner.
A legit burner. Like
Yeah.
best shooter in high school basketball type burner.
He has a burner, and even though I'm a little concerned athletically, like he moves fluidly, just not the quickest or most explosive way. So
bring out the white buzzwords.
No, it's not, because it's not
sneaky quick.
It's not sneaky anything, because like, I don't know, you just watch him, like you don't even think he should be. I don't know. He's smooth. Can you say sneaky smooth? Like, he's smooth while being kind of slow and non-athletic, which is impressive to me. But I think this is a pivotal one for Indiana, because all of a sudden you have a core that I think you project forward with for the first time since you had Trace Jackson Davis. And this season, there's a lot of, like, people are high on Indiana. Some people are low on Indiana. I'm on the low side. I don't know how many of these guys are going to be there a year from now. Like, is Mbako in Bloomington 2 years from now? Is Kalel Ware there 2 years from now? You would think Malik Renault is. Xavier Johnson's not going to be. It's kind of this transitional period where no matter how good or bad they are this year, it's going to look a lot different in 2 seasons. And I think McNeely can be the foundation of the next era of Indiana basketball. He's a guy recruits that are prestigious are going to want to come play with. He's a guy that if he's super good, yeah, maybe you only get 1 year, but he might be super good and you get 4 years. That really is on the table here. And look, if you can go head to head with Bill Self, I don't think it's crazy to say this, Carr. I think this would be the biggest recruiting win a Big Ten team has had in 10 years. Like, go back to when Indiana got Cody Zeller. Mm-hmm. I think that's how far you have to go back for a recruiting win this big.
But even so, this is more of a bigger win because Cody Zeller was an Indiana kid.
Mm-hmm.
Liam McNeely's not an Indiana kid. He's from Texas. He was long believed to be a Texas lean, actually. That was initially who he was going to, and Indiana was able to assert themselves into the recruitment pretty early. But they really have no ties to McNeely, not locally or area-wise, the only tie is really the Montverde pipeline that they've had success in getting Montverde players. But yeah, it'd be a massive recruit. And anytime you can put the sentence, I beat out Kansas in recruiting, you feel really, really good about yourself, no matter what the circumstances. You got to feel good about yourself. And as an Indiana fan, and I hope Indiana fans see this, because they always say we talk so bad about them, but when some good's going on, this is what we say. If I'm an Indiana fan, I'm looking to next year too. I mean, obviously you don't want to skip on what you had this year, but you give me a lineup of, let's say Ware leaves after this year, goes to the draft. Give me Renault at the 5. Give me Mbako at the 4. McNeely at the 3. Maybe you get Trey Galloway back as for like a super senior COVID year at the 2, or somebody else you get maybe in the transfer portal. And then maybe they land Boogie Fland, like pretty sure the number 1 point guard in the country that they're in on, and they've been in on very hard. That I'm in on Indiana. Like, that lineup is fire.
It's a top 5 team in the country.
Yeah. If
that is Indiana's team a season from now, that's a top 5 team in the country. And that totally changes how I view Mike Woodson, by the way. If he can convince Mbako to stay.
See, I don't know if that necessarily changes my Mike Woodson narrative, because my narrative is, can he do stuff with the pieces? I never doubted he could get pieces. It's just, does he know how to, not put the square piece, not put the end piece of the puzzle in the wrong spot?
Okay. Well, I think there would be more good pieces in that room, in that very nice players room, by the way. We randomly found ourselves in the players room after our trip to Indiana last year. Just kind of one of those like walk in somewhere until someone tells you can't be there things. And
You're welcome for that, by the way.
that was you that led us there?
No, but my ability to look like a Trace Jackson Davis relative definitely got us to stay.
1,000%. Although I kind of look like Trey Galloway's like special needs younger brother a little bit. But anyways, we were in there and I was blown away. One, like we talked to Race real quick. We talked to Trace as they walked by, like, good game, boys, good game. Ben Higgins was in the room and I was stunned. This is the second Bachelor reference in this episode, but my God, I am a Ben Higgins fan and he's an Indiana basketball fan. And I just couldn't muster up the courage to go say hello.
Can I get one last Bachelor question before we move on to our next topic?
Please, please.
Are you going to be in on the Golden Bachelor?
I'm gonna give it a watch. I wouldn't say I'm excited. I'm out on the Bachelor franchise right now as a whole. I've taken a 2-year sabbatical. You can only take so much of the same thing over and over again. I think every good Bachelor fan needs to watch like 2 seasons, then take 2 seasons off, then go back to it for 2 seasons. So that's currently where I'm at. I am open to getting back involved, and maybe it is the Golden Bachelor that gets me involved. I tried to convince my mother-in-law to go on that, by the way.
That would have been great.
I think she would have been cast immediately, not to get weird, but like the woman works out more than any human on the planet. And like, she has a story to her. She could make it work.
All right. We got to change topics before this.
I
don't.
You're uncomfortable?
Yes.
Why are we uncomfortable? Come on. Like she'd be a great target for, okay, let's move on.
A great target.
Michigan State football. The names are out of who these guys are actually interested in going after as their new head coach. Mel Tucker has officially been fired. Credit to Michigan State for firing him. I am now more confused on the timeline of this because everybody told me they couldn't fire him because they need to wait for the hearing. Now they're not waiting for the hearing, but they didn't fire him last week. I don't get it. I don't know. I'm just happy he's out. I'm happy they finally said he's gone. He should be gone. He's out. Hilarious. If you read like the paperwork on this, it's absolutely hilarious that their letter to terminate him had to spell out for him what was wrong here. Like, it is wholly inappropriate to masturbate to a vendor on a phone call, Mel. They made the right decision and he's gone. Now we look forward and we try to move on. And there's a lot of names surfacing, including Mike Elko from Duke. Sean Lewis is on the list. There is one name I want to ask you about first. It's PJ Fleck. And PJ Fleck, Western Michigan, took him all the way to, I forget what it was. It was a BCS bowl at the time. He took him to the Cotton Bowl, I believe. Huge bowl game, huge moment for a MAC program in the state of Michigan. He gets the Minnesota job, high-paying contract. Hasn't exactly been smooth sailing at Minnesota since, including this summer's, I don't know if you want to call them allegations, but the accusations that he wasn't running his program in a healthy way. And there was cult-like tendencies for a PJ Fleck football program. Well, surprise, surprise, he's one of the names on Michigan State's list. I had heard about this before anything went public. I went to dinner again, not to name drop, but last week I went to dinner with PJ Fleck's former quarterback, Zach Terrell. We were discussing options. I was like, do you think they'd be interested in PJ? He may or may not have confirmed some potential interest there. So the reports that Michigan State has interest from the Spartan side on PJ Fleck, I believe, are true. What do you make of this? I'll throw it to you. Is this a good thing that PJ Fleck is on this list? And is there any reasonable outcome where he is Michigan State's next head coach?
Before I start this, I just want to say shout out to the Terrell family. I've heard great things about you. I hope to maybe one day meet you. But Greg and Mal always speak so highly of you guys, and I can't wait to meet you.
Terrell.
I know that you Terrells?
Terrell, Zach
Sorry.
Terrell.
It's not Terrell?
Zach Terrell. Yeah, Zach Terrell.
Terrell kind of slaps.
By the way, Zach Terrell, he wants to be the Sleepers football correspondent. Maybe we should have got him on this, but sleepy, great basketball guy. Like, he was a pretty prestigious basketball recruit from the state of Indiana, played AAU with like Glenn Robinson III and a bunch of those names. Yeah, you would have a lot of fun talking to Zach Terrell.
I love QBs that can hoop. That's something that I'm always game for. If PJ Fleck becomes the coach of Michigan State football, I'm out. I'm boycotting. I'm not. No chance. Literally zero chance. I watch a game, support the program. I don't care. Call me a fake Spartan. Call me what you want. There is no world. I don't care how successful PJ Fleck has been. And honestly, I question some of that success. I really, truly do. I'm sorry. Like, yes, the Western Michigan days are great. He's been solid at Minnesota, I would say. Nothing to be like absolutely blown away about. Absolutely not. You cannot have the situation that we have, fire Mel Tucker for being morally wrong, and then bring in literally the Caucasian morally wrong version of Mel Tucker, not to the same extent, but like literally there is a lot of blurred lines with PJ Fleck and how he coaches his programs and who he is as a person. And we're not going to speak on rumors on this show because rumors are nasty and they're never confirmed, but some of the rumors are kind of nasty. And I do not want that nasty man coaching my football team. Just no, you cannot, coming after making a mistake and damn near setting the program back by giving Mel Tucker $95 million, turn around and give a very large sum of money to another coach who we have questions about, not, kind of how he carries himself. Like, you definitely have to be worried about how PJ Fleck carries himself. So I'm completely out on it. It would be detrimental to the Michigan State football program. I honestly think that Mel Tucker has already set us back a couple years. If we do PJ Fleck, you can round that up to setting us back like a decade. We will be cooked.
Wow. Okay. I wasn't sure where you would be on this. I think you're on the right side. I'll say that.
Also, it is very distracting, the fact that all I can think about is that you look like JJ McCarthy ever since you mentioned the hair thing.
That's a compliment. Good looking guy there. So PJ Fleck, things I believe about him. Some things I believe about PJ Fleck. He is an elite, to use one of his own words. He loves the word elite. He is an elite motivator. I think that if there are players who buy into what he's selling, he will motivate them to do anything. Like, call that cult-like, call that whatever you want. If you are officially declaring yourself as a player a PJ Fleck guy who plays for PJ Fleck, your coach will have you ready to run through a wall, run a marathon, do anything to win a football game, do anything that the team needs of you. I think he's one of the best in the game at that. I think because of that, he is a good football coach. Minnesota has not had all the success in the world, but I believe strongly PJ Fleck doing what he did at Western Michigan, and in general, he's had good years at Minnesota. He's had some okay years at Minnesota. I believe he is a good football coach. If you're Michigan State, I don't know how you even list this guy as a target. Despite that, I don't know. It's all the reports you can go through, like all the various news outlets are reporting who there's interest in, and he's on the list of reports card because there is interest, because Michigan State is actually interested in this guy. That's insane. Okay, you need to kind of wipe the slate clean, number one, but like just hire not even hiring, like have the guys you're targeting, the names that are associated with who Michigan State might want. They need to be good people. They need to be clean resumes. And I know, like, if Zach Terrell somehow listens to this, God bless him, he's going to fight me to the death that PJ Fleck's a great person. And I don't know PJ Fleck personally. So I'm just speaking to what is publicly confirmed. You can't fire a catchphrase, shtick, gimmick guy who was publicly morally ambiguous to hire another catchphrase, shtick guy who was publicly morally ambiguous, who has current accusations that he doesn't run his program the right way. Like, that's so insane to me. And I'm a Michigan State alum, you guys. Can somebody please, that is a decision maker at that university somewhere, please just show me that you care about making a good decision somewhere, please. Like, we have to just get this right. This is like the most critical hire at one of the most critical points in Michigan State athletic department history. And it's dumb. It's gross. It's wrong that PJ Fleck is one of the first names we hear you're interested in. It's insane. And I don't think PJ Fleck's going to end up at Michigan State for a variety of reasons. I think there already is public outcry. And I think the university will be smart and probably listen to who the fans are gravitating to on this. But Michigan State fans are going to react like you just did. Like they don't want PJ Fleck in this spot for all the reasons we just listed. And the other guys on the list, I think, are much better fits. They're much better, for lack of a better word, people. They don't have some of these negative connotations associated with them.
Do you consider me to be dramatic?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you haven't seen anything yet if we hire PJ Fleck. I'm telling you right now, I will say goodbye to my wife for a couple of days, as many days as needed, and I will sit out in front of Spartan Stadium on a Gandhi-like hunger strike, and my blood will be on Michigan State's hands until they fire PJ Fleck. I'm letting that be known right now. I will go on a hunger strike, and I'm big, and I need food. So I don't know how long that would. I probably only last a week without food, but my blood would be on Michigan State's hands.
You've been known to make a bleach cocktail after a Michigan State football loss. What would your new cocktail be if PJ Fleck was the head coach?
Wouldn't be one. I'd take the tub of bleach and I would shotgun it. I wouldn't even make a mixie.
All right. Well, luckily, I don't think you're going to have to worry about this, although it is a little ominous and concerning. He is on the list. The other names that were here, I mentioned a couple of them at the top. Mike Elko, Sean Lewis. Do you have a clear preferential option here from your perspective? Who do you want to see hired as Michigan State's next head coach?
You know, I've been so damn focused on not wanting PJ Fleck. I haven't given the other guys, I don't think, enough ample time to look into it. Off my first initial reaction, I'm kind of in on the Elko hire. I think that he's done a great job at Duke, at a school that really doesn't have that many football resources, I suppose. I think he's done a pretty good job of building that program. And I think the next coach of Michigan State has to be somebody who has built a program to success. So it needs to be somebody who took over a program that was in a spot like we're in, 5-7, 4-8, 3-9, whatever it was the year before they got there. And they improved across the board. They improved recruiting. They improved, the talent pool of players. They improved offensively, defensively, special teams. And just a guy who's a good person too would be really, really good. If we can get a good person, that'd be massive. And that should be honestly the first thing that we should do, and then work our way down to the football reasons. Has to be a good person. And I have a pipe dream also that if we do get Elko, he can bring Riley Leonard with him. That'd be fire.
So it does genuinely matter to get a good person. I'm glad we're both calling that out. Is Riley Leonard, does he still have eligibility?
I want to say he's only maybe a redshirt sophomore.
I want to look this
up. Is
he
he a senior?
I was thinking in my head he's already like a fifth year guy, but
he might be. You know how bad I am with that.
Right? I'm looking at him. No, he is in his third season right now. So yeah,
junior.
Potentially 2 years of Riley Leonard if he came. That would be so the thing is here, I do think we talked about a little bit, like we don't know where this turns for Michigan State and they're in trouble and there's a long way to go. But the truth is, like, in this transfer portal era, if you make the right hire, it can change immediately. In fact, Mel was the wrong hire and it changed immediately because he hit on one transfer and some other guys too. But like, there is a world where Michigan State football is good immediately as soon as next year. If things just break right, if the dominoes fall correctly. And like certainly getting Riley Leonard with Mike Elko would almost put them in a competitive spot immediately, in my opinion, with the other pieces around them. Although I don't know what that means for your boy, Caden Hauser, who just came off the best drive of his career and could still be the future for Michigan State football, depending on who you ask. But here's one thing. I like Elko, and I think Justin Thind has made a good point. He wrote an article for 24/7 that he believes Elko should be the guy. And I think of the candidates I've heard, I am the most in on Elko. I think there's a good alignment between what he's doing at Duke right now, a basketball school, and taking that and translating it to Michigan State. I think he's a good coach. I think you look at his resume. He's a defensive guy. He's coached a bunch of good defenses at big programs, Notre Dame history. All of this is good. I like all of it. I also think he would take the job. That's another important part of this. Like you gotta spend your time recruiting guys who would take the job. I think Michigan State got bit in the past with they're after Luke Fickell. He wouldn't take the job. So you need to approach this of let's chase guys and waste our time or spend our time on guys who would take the job. Elko would be good, in my opinion there. Finn made a good point. A lot of fans want an offensive guy. And if the best offensive candidate is like a B- and the best defensive guy is a B+, you take the B+. Like you shouldn't just say we want this type of guy, so we need to find it. You hire the best coach available. And if you believe that's Mike Elko, you should make that hire. The one problem I have with Mike Elko that I think applies to a lot of the guys on this list right now, and I'd be curious your answer on this. I think Michigan State should be trying to get a more established veteran head coach than this. And I don't even know who those candidates would be. It's a difficult thing to do. But I think one of the largest mistakes we collectively made on Mel Tucker was assuming this guy was a breakout star when he really had like half a good season somewhere. Mike Elko, all signs point to being really good. He's had half a good season somewhere. Like,
no, well, it's been more than a half though for Elko.
Okay, a season and a half, right? Like,
I might be wrong, but I think he's going on his third season at Duke.
I thought he was in year 2.
Can you check that really quickly?
Yeah.
Just before I do comment.
What I was on with Elko, or my interpretation of this, was he took over a team that had won 2 games in 3 games the 2 previous years. Yeah. Year 1 was last season. He went 9-4 at Duke, won the Military Bowl. Good season. This year, they're off to a 3-0 start with a win over Clemson.
Okay, so this is the second year. Okay. Yeah.
So collectively, now hear me out. 12-4 is objectively great. 12-4 in the ACC as the Duke head coach with what he took over. Like, yeah, that passes the eye test. That passes the resume test, everything. Football's weird, man. Like bad football coaches have good seasons sometimes. Look no further than the guy that just left East Lansing. Like that is a thing. And I would not make the same mistake again of like, we think this guy is the best coach in the game. We have all this money to throw, so let's throw it at him because he beat Clemson once and lost 4 games last year. We don't know. Like he's at Duke, so this is tough. Mike Elko got a big contract at Duke, but like, we don't know. 2 years from now, Mike Elko might be horrible at Duke again. Like we don't have any reason to think that's going to happen. But there are candidates you could hire here, in my opinion, and I won't name names, and I don't know how reasonable any of them are, but I think they could get a guy who's coached 10 plus years in a head coach thing that like, okay, maybe he had a dip and he built it back up. Like, it's safer, in my opinion, to get a vet like that. One guy I would just point out, they did try to get this guy, Luke Fickell, in my opinion, is an example of what they should go after. And Fickell, not necessarily like a head coach for a ton of years, but like you saw what he did at Ohio State, then you saw what he did at Cincinnati, and now he's at Wisconsin. Like you pretty much know what you're getting with Luke Fickell. If I'm Michigan State, I would get a guy you know what you're getting. And even if Mike Elko is the best name on the list right now, I don't think we have a clue what we're getting if Mike Elko is the head coach at Michigan State.
Yeah, and so many things factor into this too, like as far as buyouts and contracts. And that's the one good thing about Elko is that as far as money wise, like we can blow Duke out of the water with this contract, and this buyout won't be an issue. I like this is what I'll say. I like your thought process with that, like the path of the Fickell, like a Fickell type path. Issue though, right now, I don't know if I can name off the top of my head who that coach would be. I would have to think about it and actually look into it a little bit. But off the top of my head, I don't know who that like Luke Fickell type coach would exactly be.
I'm trying to pick one too.
Also, you're an eye test guy, like an eye test type of fella.
Mm-hmm.
I just want you to know that Sean Lewis's, because you're talking about the OC analyst at Colorado, correct?
Yeah, he was one.
Yeah, his Twitter bio says life is too short to huddle.
I like that.
I absolutely love that.
I like that.
That's massive.
Some other names thrown out here: Oregon State's Jonathan Smith, Charles Huff from Marshall. I'd just say this on Jonathan Smith. He's 29 and 31 in 6 years. He started his career 2-10, 5-7, 2-5, 7-6. He just went 10-3 last year, and they're 3-0 this year. But like, again, like that doesn't scream great football coach to me, even if things are turned around at the moment. Like, I just don't know, man. That was one of my biggest gripes with Mel before all the Mel shit went down, was just like, this guy's resume at Colorado stinks. And I don't know. We're convinced he's going to be it because he has a bunch of great catchphrases. Like, and I get none of these guys are that, but can we get a resume? Like, it's Michigan State, man. They have a bunch of money. Like, I think we're downplaying who Michigan State could get. And maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe like the administration has ruined this. And there's a lot of good coaches who won't be interested in this because of how bad the administration's been. But like, they're not a poverty program. We know they're not a poverty program money-wise. And I think great coaches should want to coach here, especially at the rate they can pay. So
Michigan State leadership has a little bit of Michigan admissions in them.
A little bit? Like, dog. And maybe I'm the curse man. I'm a Michigan State football fan, Michigan basketball fan. I make no sense, and my teams are horrible because of me. So I feel like these names we're throwing around, like Mike Elko and Jonathan Smith and Sean Lewis, like, those are Minnesota hires. Like, why are we acting like we're Minnesota? We can pay a guy a top 10 salary in the sport. I don't want to give a top 10 salary in the sport to a guy who's never won anything before. I want to give a top 10 salary in the sport to like a clear good coach. And I don't know, look around. Like, I named Luke Fickell, but like, I would consider Brett Bielema what Illinois did. He's struggling at Illinois right now, but like, Bielema's a proven coach who's won in the Big Ten before. Go give me someone like that. Give me someone
he's stinking it up right now.
He was good last year. Again, football's weird. Every year, it's a weird year-to-year thing. Like, his quarterback stinks, so they look horrible right now. Yeah. Missed on a quarterback. Like, I want a guy who, like, we have 20 years of resume stuff on, that like, he's been a good coach, and then he's been a bad coach, and then he's been a good coach again.
Okay, what last thing I'll say about this, though, with the guys that you're naming, doesn't it take a school to kind of get in on them earlier to realize that they are a good coach?
Yeah, probably.
It takes one school to jump in on them, and then everyone figures out like they're this great coach. So maybe it's more so if Michigan State wants to get in kind of on the ground level with somebody who's showing some promise, but more promise than what I know you're going to say. Like, that's exactly what we did with Mel. Mel was a lot of projecting. Like, Mel's best season at Colorado was what, 3-9?
Yeah.
And he came from the Saban coaching tree at Georgia. So like, he got that bump. Or sorry, not the Saban, from the Saban coaching tree, but also was at Georgia. So got the Georgia bump as well. I think you do want to try to get in on a guy early, but also have a little bit of success that backs that up. And like, I don't have a favorite. Just give me a good person and I'll work with it. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would just like vet some vetty guys first. You got all this money. You got the money cannons right now. You just saved $80 million firing this guy. It's the biggest blessing Michigan State football could have asked for. Like, what's Chris Peterson doing? He stepped down from coaching a year ago. Like, are we going to call Chris Peterson and offer him $70 million and he's going to turn down?
Would you want Whittingham from Utah?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the type.
Yeah, just like a guy that is a vet coach that's been around, that we know has years of winning under him at some point. Like, I think that's who Michigan State should go after if you're serious about being competitive, instead of a guy who's had one good season on his resume, which is what every guy on Finn's list is. And I like Elko. I think if they hire Elko, I am optimistic that it'll work out. But you better not pay him a top 10 salary. Don't make that mistake again for a guy who went 10-4, 9-4 in the ACC. It's the best year he's had. And he beat Clemson this year. We have no idea how good Clemson is. Like, let's just slow down with it a little bit, but we'll see. The one name we haven't mentioned that I have heard named as a candidate, I want to run by you, that I think of the names mentioned, this is who I would hire. Brian Hartline, coordinator at Ohio State.
I think I would like that. I wonder how realistic it would be to get him.
I think if you're going to go the unproven route, he is the best name on the board for me.
Don't you want someone with but you just said you want a head coaching experience, though.
Yeah, I would go the experience route over this. But if of the names mentioned, the one guy I would take the shot on being something he hasn't been before is Hartline.
I mean, I wouldn't hate that at all.
Yeah, I think if you can steal a coordinator from pretty much an elite system at Ohio State that has never head coached before, and the shot is, hey, maybe there's upside here. Maybe he's an elite coach. Then, yeah, I like that. I think the offenses would be good. I think recruits would want to play for him. I like that more than let's throw a bunch of money at Mike Elko.
Yeah. Still haven't made my official stance, but I do like the thought process there.
Okay. All right. This will be a fascinating one to watch because I think PJ is a real candidate here. So
it's going to get wicked. Oh, my bad. Didn't see you there. You've been finding a void in your life, something that you need a sense of community, a sense of want, a sense of being there. What better place than to join the Sleepers Media Discord, where we have a community, we have discussions, we have engagements, and we have betting advice in there for anyone who wants to get into that betting world. We are more than happy to be your betting Obi-Wan Kenobi and lead you to the greatness of maybe greener pastures and more money. But for the small price of $9.99, if you join on the web, don't join on mobile, join on the web. You can join Sleepers Media Discord, and you can have the safety and the beauty of being able to talk to me and Greg at any time you want. And we are active in the Discord. So I don't know what you're waiting for. Join the Discord, Sleepers Media, $9.99 on the web. Do it now. It's going to get wicked.
Final topic of the day. I posed this question to you via text. It's kind of a hard one to explain. I don't know how I'm going to caption this clip and thumbnail it out. But basically, if you had to draft one guy, one Big Ten basketball player as the most valuable guy you could have going forward from today on, who is the guy you pick? Now, the obvious answer to everyone immediately, I think, would be Zach Edey. But you know you're only getting 1 year of Zach Edey if you draft Zach Edey. So is 1 year of Zach Edey more valuable than 4 years of somebody else, 3 years of somebody else? So the names you're allowed to pick for this, anyone who's going to be on a Big Ten basketball roster this season. You can't pick someone who's committed that's still in high school. Any incoming freshman for this season can qualify for this. I asked you to bring 2 honorable mentions and your official pick. So let's work from the bottom up. Give me your 2 honorable mentions and then give me your official pick of who you would want to be the face of your program if you had to pick one name that's most valuable.
Can this exercise be called hashtag Big Ten building block?
Oh my God, Carter. Listen, I know we had to take away your clip privileges yesterday. You might be on thumbnail duty starting today. That was incredible.
All right. Can I ask you one thing before I get into my list?
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me a quick rundown of what your criteria was in your thought process?
I have 4 names. I told you to come with 3 and I'd come with 3. Okay. I have the answer I believe to be obvious, and then I have my 3 answers.
Okay. All right. So my last honorable mention was Jeremy Fears. Jeremy Fears was my honorable mention. I think he's going to be a elite point guard in the Big Ten. He's a freshman. And he's going to be, I think, end up leaving Michigan State as one of the best Michigan State point guards in a school that has had some great ones. So Jeremy Fears is my honorable mention, first one. My next honorable mention is wait, who did I have? Oh yeah, okay, sorry. I had to make sure I didn't mess it up. I had Braden Smith. I had Braden Smith as my second honorable mention. I think that he is a building block type player. He does a little bit of everything. He's a guard. A lot of my guys were guards. As much as I wanted to do, pick a big, I did not pick any bigs in this exercise. And my number one, who I would pick moving forward. You want to take a guess at who it is?
Yes, I'm in between 2. I think your answer is Bruce Thornton.
My answer is Bruce Thornton. Is Bruce Thornton.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that Bruce Thornton is Could see a world where he ends up being one of the best guards in the country. I think he has the game to back it up. As we mentioned before, he has the intangibles as well. I think that Bruce Thornton is just like a program face of a program type of guy, just on and off the court. I always bring up the press conferences that we went to, and I'll continue to do it. I think he's a high character, high energy, and match that with talent as well. I think that's who I'd like want to build my program around. I think he can elevate others around him. It'll be a big year this year for Bruce Thornton to see how he is with talent around him, because I don't necessarily know if he was able to elevate guys last year. And I think he'll have a chance to elevate guys around him this year. Not saying that they're less talented than the team last year, but I think that bringing in the talent, it'll be interesting to see how he kind of navigates that.
He didn't have a chance to elevate Bryce Sensabaugh.
No, Bryce Sensabaugh did all the elevating himself.
Didn't make it easy on his teammates, maybe, is what we're saying, hypothetically. Okay.
Shut up,
so how many of your 3 do you think are on my list?
I think that 2 are on your list.
Correct. Wow, we know each other too well right now. This is kind of scaring me. I had Braden Smith and Jeremy Fears as my 2 honorable mentions as well. So I think those are the right picks.
No Bruce.
No Bruce. So I think Braden Smith and Fears are both guaranteed 4-year guys. The reason I did not include Bruce Thornton, and I thought about him, I don't think he's a guaranteed 4-year guy. I think if Bruce Thornton's great this season, he could be in the NBA a year from now. My bet would be he plays 3 years at Ohio State. And I don't think 2 years of Bruce Thornton is more valuable than 3 years of Braden Smith or 4 years of Jeremy Fears.
Okay.
Honestly, between Fears and Smith, I just want to say this. I would pick Fears. I know I've done a lot of Braden Smith love lately. And it's hard to do this exercise too, because like one of Jeremy Fears' years is essentially not going to be used at Michigan State. Like, no offense, but Jeremy Fears doesn't really matter to Michigan State's success this year, even if he's great. So it's hard, because I think if you just threw him on an empty roster, 4 years of Jeremy Fears could look like 4 years of Cassius Winston potentially. And they have different games, but I'm just saying, like, impact wise, I think it could be that impactful. I'm that high on him. And same with Braden Smith, oddly. Like, if you dropped Braden Smith on an empty roster as a freshman instead of next to the National Player of the Year, what does that look like?
If you drop Braden Smith on this year's Michigan State team instead of Fears, does Braden Smith start?
No, Izzo would stick with his guy if you had like the history with Hogard.
Okay, understood. Just a little wrinkle question in there.
Fun hypothetical. So yeah. I said I have 4 names. I have 2 names that you didn't mention. Bruce Thornton's not on my list as mentioned, because I think he could go pro. I have the obvious answer, and then I have my answer. The obvious answer is this: it's Zach Edey, man. It's Zach Edey. Like, I get
you just take the 1 year of Edey.
It's a fun hypothetical, and that's why I posed this. But who are we kidding here? Like, 1 year of Zach Edey, no matter where you put him, means that you are a national title contender and you have the no doubt National Player of the Year.
True.
What are we doing dancing around with 3 years of these other guys? Like, we are hoping these other guys give us that in the future. This is a no-brainer. And if you went down the list of programs, like, depending on who you are, I would say 12 of the 14 programs in the Big Ten would take 1 season where they're a guaranteed national title contender over 4 years of, we hope something works out. Like, if you could give Minnesota a year with Zach Edey where they're a top 5 team in the country, they take it. No brainer. And the truth about Edey too is, like, let's just say hypothetically, Carr, if you removed all the other things I like about Purdue, which I really like, I think they're still a great team. But if you dropped like you and 3 of your Albion teammates next to Zach Edey, aren't y'all still a pretty good team in the Big Ten this year?
I mean, Zach was a 45% 3-point shooter.
I'm just thinking, like, Edey's that good. Like, if Edey needed to go get 35 and 25 on a team, I think he could do it, and you just place the right pieces around him.
Can Zach Edey play 2 more years?
Yeah, but I think we got to be realistic. He's not going to.
Okay. Are we sure?
No. No.
I've never thought of the possibility that we could have 2 more years of Edey.
What about this world? Purdue has a great season, number one in the country, undefeated, blah, 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 all this stuff. They get to March, number one overall seed. They lose to Robert Morris in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Back-to-back 116 losses. Bill Self calls in the summer. What does Zach Edey do?
You talking about Zach Edey to Kansas?
Bill, if Hunter Dickinson's market valuation was $2 million for a year at Kansas, isn't Bill Self paying $5 million for Zach Edey next year?
Yeah.
And he's coming off back-to-back 16 seed lot. What's Edey doing? And that's why he's going to Kansas, isn't he?
Yeah, probably.
There's a world where this gets interesting, but no, Edey is the pick. Purdue's going to be great. They're not going to lose in the first round. That's the pick. Now, time for my pick. That is not the obvious pick, but it's my pick. I like to think I'm pretty objective. You and Michigan State fans would push back on it probably and say I'm very biased.
Here we go.
I'm biased in jokes, but I'm normally very objective. This is a homer pick. I think the most valuable asset in the Big Ten is Doug McDaniel. I do. I think all the same reasons you picked Bruce Thornton as your answer applied to Doug McDaniel, except Doug has no path to the NBA at all. Doug is Michigan's point guard for 3 straight seasons, and those seasons are going to be so fun.
I mean, until he leaves for Seton Hall.
It's an outcome.
It's
an outcome.
I mean, your building block can't even properly hydrate.
That was a one-time mistake.
Okay. If he has hydration issues this year, can you retract the statement?
Listen, hydration issues happen to everyone. Okay. In fact, last week I talked about it on the pod. I was like seeing lines in my vision for a day. I had to stop off the coffee. Like, it happens to everybody. Okay. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. It happened to Doug at a bad time right before a Michigan State game. He still played that game, by the way. Let's be clear about what happened, because he's a dog. Lesser men would never.
He was a dog that game. He got walked.
Yeah, well, he was a dog the next game too, and he walked a couple of your dogs, best backcourt in the country, supposedly. But a little 18-year-old, 5'7" freshman was in his bag. Listen, I'll just ride or die for Doug. That's all I'm going to say. And this was an opportunity for me to ride or die for my guy. I do think when he's an upperclassman, I think he's a first-team All Big Ten player who scores like 19 a game at Michigan.
You know why I'm not affected by you picking Doug? Because I have recording saved on my phone. Saved on my phone, not even on this episode. Of you picking Braden over Doug.
That was for this year, not for 3 years from now.
Oh, okay. Okay, loophole.
That's not a loophole. It's honest.
Okay.
It's honest. Listen, Doug McDaniel in a few years is going to be Tyler Ulis if you gave Tyler Ulis like a hitman assassin mentality and a bunch of cocaine. That's who I think Doug McDaniel is. I think he's an absolute killer who's just going to annoy the shit out of everyone.
He might, but Tyler Ulis wasn't surrounded by George Washington III, Fat Brooks, and Yo-Yo.
Which only means Doug will be used even more, which should be music to any Michigan fans' ears. I'm telling you, man, this year, like, everyone's talking about Kamwa, and I don't know, really just Kamwa. They don't have anybody else, but like, I think there's a world Doug's like a 15 a game guy this year. I don't think that's crazy.
All right, last thing before we move on to the one big thing, and just answer it quickly for me. We went through that exercise. Point guards was the main thing. Guards was the main thing. If it was a wing, who are you picking?
Well, there's that whole sophomore class of wings, like Peyton Sanford, Connor Esigian. You could throw AJ Storr in there, I guess. Fletcher Lawyer, theoretically. I'm out on all these guys.
I might take one of the freshman wings coming in.
Ooh.
Like, I might take a Gavin Griffiths, or I might take a Jamie Kaiser.
I would take Griffiths over Kaiser.
I would too, but I would consider those. Honestly, I would even consider, like, I think Devin Royal ends up being like a monster in the Big Ten.
Would you take Ty Rodgers?
I would take Ty Rodgers because I would not make Ty Rodgers a point guard.
After all the Ty Rodgers drama with us and us being in on him so hard last year and then out on him so hard this season, He does feel like a reasonable name for this exercise, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I think I would take Ty. I would take Ty Rodgers.
can we do a consensus like top 10 assets in the Big Ten list then?
Yes.
I think like Bill Simmons used to do like the trade machine stuff where it's not ranking the best players. It's just ranking like who's the best at. And he had some stupid, like Anthony Davis was like ahead of LeBron his rookie year or something like that, I think. But if we did that, who's our top 10? Like quick on the fly.
Fears. I still put Thornton as an asset.
I think between like our lists, I think Fears, Thornton, Braden Smith,
Booker,
and Doug are all top 10. I think Edie
Booker.
has to be top 10.
Booker.
I don't think Booker makes it because I think there's worries he's a one and done.
Okay.
I would put Carr before Booker probably.
Really?
But I think like Sanford and Griffiths probably find their way on there. Ty Rodgers.
I think Ty Rodgers makes his way onto there for sure. Who are we missing? Ohio State. See, I think Middleton will be 1 or 2 and done. I might let Devin Royal sneak into that list.
I think that one's a stretch. Any of the sophomore bigs like Akpara, Reed,
Kaufman, Wren,
Renault.
We might have to save this for another segment where I actually like go through this.
I think we should put an actual list out. The 25 best, like, what'd you call it? Building blocks.
No, you got to do this. Big 10 building blocks.
Okay. I like that exercise. It's a really fun exercise. Okay. Good episode. I never know how to end these. Like, I feel like we just end. It's like, okay.
Okay.
Like, yeah,
all right. Good time.
Tomorrow.
Good
all right. What's your thing? Yeah. The hard part too is like, you and I talk so much, man.
We do.
Like this episode ends and then it's not like a see you tomorrow. It's like, I'm going to text you in 20 minutes. And then it sometimes it's hard to separate like work versus just like friendship with you.
It's true. Do we need to like, you took like a caffeine break?
Mm-hmm.
Do we need like a break?
No, because I like my interactions with you. It's genuinely like probably one of the best things I look forward to in my day.
But maybe like not a work break, just a interaction break. Like in a week or two, I'll catch up with you and be like, what did I miss? Like, how's life?
I think I'd rather take a work break than an interaction break with you. Like I'd rather be like on vacation, like ordering a tequila shot, sending you a video.
Yeah, true. That's a good point.
I also want to give us and our friend group credit. We've been really good on mid-football FaceTime shots this year. That's a critical part of my enjoyment of football season.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, halftime shots have been very voluminous this year.
Abundant, one might say.
People were asking for your word of the day, by the way. We could add that to every episode. Do you want to add a Carter Elliott word of the day or no?
Yeah, do your best to use the word abundant today. Or abundancy.
This could be fun. If we actually roll this out, we could either have you do it at the beginning of the episode and then you have to say it like at least once in the episode, or you have a word of the day that you bring that you use in the episode, and then at the end of the episode, I have to guess what it is.
I'm doing that starting tomorrow.
Okay, so you will bring a word of the day every episode. At the end of the episode, I guess what it is. You tell me if I'm right or not, and then you unveil your word of the day.
I can't wait to mess you up. I'm gonna make it orange.
This is gonna be so fun. Okay, one big thing presented by Big B. Big B. I have not gotten a Big B coffee in like 3 weeks. By the way, I'm drinking a Big B competitor today. And do you want to guess the percent my coffee has been drank thus far?
So I know it's Dunkin', and I think it's right below the lettering.
Pretty close.
I mean, that's just we might talk too much.
Yeah, we're really dialed in on each other's wants and needs right now. It's a little scary. Don't pause that.
I didn't.
It was worse. I'd rather get the pause than the facial expression you just made. Expression. What's your one big thing, man?
Okay, my one big thing for today is for any fans that are looking to get into the game of soccer, today's a great day. Today's a great day to start it. The Champions League starts. For people who don't watch soccer, Champions League is basically bringing the top teams from all the leagues around the world and putting them in a tournament. So like think about it as a very, very long March Madness style tournament, kind of. Like you play in the groups, you figure out if you advance to the next round, then it becomes bracket play. And you can start watching it now, and it goes all the way through. I think the championship game is sometime in like May or a long time away. So I highly recommend getting into it, maybe picking a team and just following it. It'll be a lot of fun to follow. As y'all can see, I got my Manchester City kit on today as we begin our quest to defend our Champions League title. And I'm very excited about it. So that's my one big thing for today.
I like that one big thing. For whatever reason, my soccer fandom, which is largely fueled by your recommendations of how to watch soccer, I've never been able to fully get into Champions League. And that's weird because my team won the Champions League the first year that I was a soccer fan.
I'm gonna find you a team that has not been in Champions League for a long time, and then last season found a way to get in the Champions League, and like they're young and fun. Like there's always that one team. Like I always point to this. This is why I tell people to watch the Champions League. I think it was almost 6 to 8 years ago, right? Young French team, Monaco, makes their way in the Champions League and just has ballers all around. Like this is young Kylian Mbappe, Bernardo Silva, Mendy, just all these ballers that are just before they became the big names they are today. There's always that fun Champions League team. Fans like to call it the hipster team, but I'll find that team for you and I'll tell you to follow them.
Isn't it kind of sad though? Because like whoever the hipster team is, all their players are just going to get bought in a year.
Sometimes it is, but sometimes teams stick together though. Like Monaco stuck together for maybe a year or two after that.
Minus Kylian Mbappe and Bernardo Silva and Mendy.
But they stuck for a year or two after that, and then they left.
Okay. I don't know. Something about it. It feels like the in-season NBA tournament to me. Like maybe I'll love that when it gets here, but I've cared way more about Prem results than Champions League results, which feels backwards.
Maybe you should be an AC Milan fan because they have Rafael Leao, who's probably top 3 fun player to watch.
Rafael Leao.
Leao.
Rafael Leao.
Leao.
Rafael Leao.
Yes.
That is the greatest name in sports history.
He's that boy too. And
also, can he go by Rafa Leao? Because that's Rafa Nadal. But
yeah, he goes by Rafa Leao.
I love this guy.
Yeah. So maybe you should watch that. And they got 2 Americans on the team. They got Pulisic and Yunus Musa. They got Giroud. You used to love Giroud, didn't you?
Am I just a Pulisic guy though? Because I don't want to just go wherever Pulisic goes. I don't feel like he's earned that.
Yeah, you don't want to be just a Pulisic guy either.
I don't feel like he's earned that, and I would be doing that if I jumped from Chelsea to AC Milan. Also, aren't they Italian?
Yes.
I don't know how I feel about Italy.
Like what? Just the country?
I don't know. That's not a joke. I don't know that I want Italy.
Pizza's your favorite food.
Love pizza.
That's Italian.
But I want like Sbarro.
Okay.
Just like I don't want to go to I don't know. Okay. Whew, deep breath. I have a gambling PSA for people. I know some people listen to us and aren't gambling people, so you can shut the program off at this point. But I have a public service announcement from G, who I like to consider myself a little bit of a gambling aficionado. I work in it. I've hit some big bets. I think I make good gambling content. This comes after last night's Monday Night Football tragedy and sports in general results. When a player gets injured that you bet on, do not cry that you should get the bet voided. That is lame. It's not accurate. And we should not be holding sportsbooks accountable if they don't void them. It's within all of their rights to not void them. In fact, I encourage sportsbooks to not void them because now it's insulting there's been so many injuries in sports history that sportsbooks haven't voided. And now they are picking and choosing. And that's the last thing. It's unfair to bettors. We should not be in a position where like, maybe we'll get lucky. Like, no, you should never get lucky. And you should honestly, as a bettor, know that there's risk involved when you place a bet. Like, it's horrible when a player goes down to injury. Nick Chubb's one was horrendous. I wish him the best. I hope he comes back. But yeah, like if I bet a Nick Chubb touchdown, part of my bet is the risk that he might get injured. So like, yeah, you lost your bet immediately instead of at the end of the game. You look lame begging for a handout from a sports book. They owe you nothing. Injuries are part of sports. It's part of every bet you make. You should calculate that risk in when you make a bet is, oh, there's a percent chance this could happen. And honestly, it's like, this is another lame complaint I have that's totally not in line with this, but I'll compare it. This is how lame you look. It's like when a basketball coach complains the other team made shots. There's a certain coach who likes to do that a lot in his press conferences, but it's so dumb. Making shots is part of basketball. Like, you can't hit the podium and be like, well, they made a bunch of shots they're not supposed to make. That looks stupid. Like, win the damn game, find a way. You lost your bet. You look stupid. The guy got hurt. That's what matters here. Sportsbooks owe you nothing. You should know that and be better than that. Be responsible gamblers that are better for the culture of gambling than complaining for free handouts.
That was a great one. Big thing, G.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. Good episode today. I had fun. I hope everybody enjoys this. We'll be back on Wednesday this week. Also, I think, isn't it Bluff's due date today?
Yes, it is.
Shout out to Riley Davis. Shout out to Bluff. Shout out to Nat, his wife, and their future child. Hopefully we get a little text today with some good news.
I can't wait to meet Carter Hubert Davis.
Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.